Hey guys, so today I'm going to be completely renovating the entire animal room. To start off, I packed up everything that was in my dresser as well as moved some clay stuff around so then I could put what was on top of my dresser onto my desk. And then, like I said, took everything out of my dresser, organized it, and put it in these tubs because these tubs will be going into a big thing we made under my bed, and I will do a separate video on that. It's really cool, and I think it's a great idea for reptile people that keep reptiles or fish that have a lot of random stuff, or especially DIY people as well that have a lot of stuff that they may need to store. I set up this tank quite a while ago on top of my dresser here, and I need to move my dresser, so I'm going to be moving this tank, which has this beta. I got it from the friend that gave me the couple other fish, like a goldfish and a common pleco as well. Apparently he took it in from somebody else, and he had it in like a critter cage, I think. Just like a really small tank, and I took it in, put it in here. And then here are some guppies that I took in. I put out a post, just 3 guppies, 2 males and a female. I put out a post that I'd taken guppies because I want them to eventually populate my tropical fish tank and my turtle tanks. So somebody responded and gave me 3 guppies, so we went and picked them up. But I need to move these tanks because I am moving the dresser out of my room, so I have everything cleared except the 2 fish tanks on top. And I know you guys have seen in other videos, my wall is like this, and I'm about to show you what I did to get it to this point. First, I had my brother remove the shelf from the wall, and then after that we put up new boards and then drywall, and then my dad spackled it and got it looking like how it is now. But now we need to sand down, and then we're going to paint this wall and that wall and this wall, which I've talked about in other videos, so stay tuned. I'm sorry if it's a little bit echoey in here. We just took out my bed, and I think that was kind of the sound absorber in my room, but it'll be coming back later. So I'm going to be moving these guys out. I'm just gonna go ahead and move this fish tank. They're going into my living room. I'm going to be taking this betta, and for now I'm just going to be moving it into in with Petey, my turtle there, and I'm actually going to be moving him out to the living room as well. All the fish tanks are moving out. I was moving out the 2 fish tanks so then I could move out my dresser, but I was moving all the fish tanks out so I could sand, but I didn't end up getting to the big tanks, and it was fine. I thought sanding the wall would be really bad. It didn't get anything anywhere, so that's pretty good. And then all the fish and everything moved just fine. And then I went ahead and cleaned the old betta tank, and then I cleaned out Petey's tank before I set it up, just to give it, like a washing, because it was a bare tank. It had some gross stuff on it. When I took down the betta tank, I just put the betta in that 5-gallon bucket there, and you can actually see that the filter's running. I did that so it wouldn't run out of oxygen or anything. And then I went ahead and put some of the beta's water into that tank, and then also put in new water into that 30-gallon tank there. And I set it up with just a little bit of water because I noticed that PD generally liked lower water. And then I went ahead and I just drained this tank, and then I carried it with the fish in it, just a couple of inches of water, and then I set it back up in the living room. So I just went ahead and set everything on this horse mat that we have out in my living room that my dad exercises on, just so then if I spilled any water it wouldn't get on the nice rug that was out in the living room. And then I set up the guppies, and then I went ahead and started working on the 30-gallon tank, which I didn't move the camera. I'm not sure why, but this was kind of a stressful time, so I'll give myself this one, I guess. And I got all that set up, and then I went ahead and started moving out Norman here. He's in this 20-gallon tub, which is way too small for him, but I had set it up in a separate video. I moved him into this, so then he'll actually be getting a 75-gallon tank once I redo my room. Then we went on ahead and moved the dresser up to my brother's room. We could disconnect it, so we moved it in 2 pieces, and my brother wanted it, so this worked out, I guess. And then I went ahead and set up Norman in the living room on this mat, as you can see. And yeah, I ended up fitting everything, all the tanks and all the turtles and fish and everything on this little mat. Hey guys, so we're currently at a bit of a stopping point here. It's looking pretty great. Since we're going from a dark color to like a lighter color, I think we had to cover it or like paint it over with like a lighter color or something. I forget what that's like, primer or something, I think. And then this wall is clear. We can move this thing that we made out of here. And I already moved the dresser, as you guys saw. But my dad's just waiting for that stuff to dry, and then he'll sand that. Sanding wasn't actually that bad, like it didn't get dust anywhere actually. So I haven't moved out these fish tanks, but all the other fish tanks in the room are gone. And now we're just painting. So I'm going to start draining these fish tanks so we can move them out into the living room with the other ones. Because we have to paint, and we can move these things. Like, they're heavy, but we can move them. Those things are ridiculously heavy, like hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So got to start draining it, and that's the plan now. But it's I think it'll all come together and end up looking really, really, really nice. I first wanted to get the 75-gallon out of there, so I started draining it, and I just moved a lot of the water into a 20-gallon tub out in the living room on the mat, and I put all the fish in that, and then I put the turtles in a separate little tub, and then we moved out that. And then I started moving the stressful tank here. This one was less than ideal to have to drain down. Once we drained it down, I realized that we wouldn't be able to lift it even with just a couple inches of water, because it's a 55-gallon aquarium. So there's the glass, and then there's a ton of rocks. And then I ended up having to destroy the escape, which was very unideal and very sad for me. Also, when my brother was there, he almost exploded my heater, which wasn't very much fun, but we eventually got it. And again, very stressful, mainly because of the angelfish, because I had to drain it down all the way so then the angelfish could just fit without turning sideways, just because I didn't want to have to remove the fish. Then I went ahead and filled it up, and then we moved the rest of the stuff from the wall so then we could continue on painting and getting everything. And I had to clean up behind the iguana's cage, and basically everywhere I had to sweep before we started/finished painting. Hey guys, so we're at a stopping point for the night. We moved all these tanks out so we could paint and everything, and you can't really move them around super easily since they're fish tanks, so we just put them all out here. It's a total of 5 fish tanks out here. And yeah, so all this stuff will be coming back in. Obviously the tubs are temporary, and some things aren't set up how I'd love, but they're there. And that scape is destroyed, which is very sad. There are my doobie roaches. Those are all the tubs that will be going under my bed. Here's the tank, this tank, and that tank won't be coming in until we build a new stand for them that also holds this 125-gallon right there. And we'll be building that tomorrow, I believe, or at least, yeah, buying the stuff. But the plan tomorrow is paint the rooms and the drawers for the new underbed storage thing. We'll have drawers on the end for clothes. That's what we'll be building. Then this right here, which normally held some of my stuff. Sometimes I would put tanks on it. That won't be coming back in. That stand won't be coming back in because, like I said, we're building a new stand, which will be much, much bigger than this one, but somewhat similar in a way. And yeah, basically everything's changing in my room except my desk. So big things. Big news. Real quick, this is what my room looks like for the night. Again, everybody's good. Beth has her heat, and the iguana's plugged in like normal. And then that's pretty much it. Apparently there's a leak in the iguana's cage, and it's been there, so it was kind of like moldy and gross under here, so that's why I was doing that stuff, mopping. So when we redo this, we're gonna have to take it apart, let it dry out, and figure out what the problem was, so then we can build the new iguana's cage even better. So this is one coat of the paint, and then this is once it's done and dry. I started to move Beth's tank to where it would be going. I didn't have the back piece, which again is a separate video that's actually already out, but I didn't have the back piece on at this time, but I just went ahead and kind of put it in its general place, and then we went ahead and did the same thing with the iguana's cage. We actually put it in somewhere that I eventually moved it. I moved it up against Beth's tank because I don't know why I originally wanted to have it there, but that's where the plan was on the piece of paper. So again, another video. And then we got everything in. A lot of this are separate different videos, so this is kind of just explaining the whole system there with the beds. And then I had to organize like everything. I had a ton of stuff in my room or out of my room, and I had to put it back, and that is this part. So it's just moving stuff around. My friend was over. He had his leopard gecko over, so that's what that is. And then this is me just moving in the tubs, so then I could put the tubs where they go, and also fixing on top of my clay desk. I kind of make a neat little thing up there with the plants, which I think is pretty cool. They grow all the way across there, and then I have a few trophies, and I made up a little wood thing for the vines to grow on, kind of like a little scene, I guess. I don't know. And then I made sure all the tubs were good to put in the bed, and then I had to figure out what tubs went where, like where I'd want to use them, and I haven't changed them since. I think they've been working very well. And again, in the video for that, I show what's in each one. And then here I have the dirt from the iguana's cage, and again, another video I'll explain. But that other bigger tub is just extra dirt that I have, and then I'm just making sure everything's set up temporarily. So this video is more about how I renovated the actual room. We painted the ceiling, which desperately needed to be done. The lights, you can see they're kind of falling out. They were much worse. They were like pretty much off, like out, so we kind of fixed that there. And then we painted the walls, which again also needed done. Again, this whole wall was a shelf, and then that wall had lots of holes in it, like a big hole in everything. And then again, this will be a different video. The bed thing will be a different video. Everything, all that is 2 other videos, in fact, and then all this stuff is again explained in those videos. And I'm still not done, and there's a lot of work to do. Like, this tank looks terrible. Basically all 3 of these, everything on this stand basically is going to be different. Same with this. This is staying pretty constant. Here's Beth right here. She's not going anywhere, and she's not changing, but the plants are growing, which is really, really cool. And then this is somewhat temporary. Right here I have Petey's actual thing. So I took him to the vet, since you saw him in that 30-gallon, and actually he did really, really well in that 30-gallon. But right now he's dry docking because I'm actually treating him for shell rot, so he's kind of sickly. He came to me like that. I didn't really know what to do. I hadn't really dealt with shell rot before. But he seems to be improving. He's eating a lot, and that's really, really exciting. So basically the basic room is going to be really great. I think it's like the one finished room in our entire house. Our house has always kind of been a little bit unfinished, I guess. So like, even like this probably doesn't look like anything, but the trim's on, and it's not on like in the rest of the house, which really bugs me. That's like the main thing. But also I think everything else in the house needs painted and stuff. But yeah, that tank's gonna be set up really cool. Community tank. It doesn't even have a mechanical filtration or any type of filtration right now. The only thing it has maybe is biological filtration on that piece of wood. That tank down there just really needs a water change, but it has so many goldfish that it's just, you know, it's hard with that many goldfish. And the goldfish are going to be going into a pond someday, so that tank will be changing. That's pretty much Norman's tank. That's pretty much what that tank's going to be. I might split it and put another turtle in there someday, depending if I get other turtles. So right now that's just Norman's tank. He can't be housed with pretty much anything else, but I do plan on scaping that at some point in the future. This tank is very questionable. I don't know what's going to happen with it, but all I do know is that it will not stay here. It's a 55 gallon in a place that a 75 gallon would be, so I'm going to be looking for a 75 gallon to put here, and what happens with that 75 gallon, I don't know, and what happens with this, again, I don't know. I know that there's a couple things that I want. There's criteria that I have for the fish that I want and the fish tanks that I want. I just don't know how to achieve all that yet, so it just takes me doing research and looking online, especially Craigslist. Lots of decisions to make there, but they're doing fine. I did rescape it. Basically, it needs a water change and to clean the front glass, and then that'll actually look really, really nice. And I think it looks pretty nice right now. Actually, it looks a little bit better on camera, I think, than in real life. Those are crested geckos, and here are tropical trees. So there's some other projects as well there. And same here, crested geckos, and then the iguana. The iguana is getting a huge cage that's going to take up this entire area. That's going to be really cool. And yeah, right now the beta's in with him, and let's just say there's going to be a water feature in there, and it has something to do with some other decisions maybe. And yeah, that's the plan. This crested geckos will go in here. Lots of work to do in this tank, like lots of work, but basically lots of work everywhere. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this got you motivated to clean up your animal room, make everything look great, and not like mine, because right now it's a mess pretty much. It's the best I can do with what I have at the moment. I hate having everything being a work in progress. I hate it, but basically I can't do anything else with like the iguana cage. Once it's built, then a lot of things will be changing in here, and then I can work on a lot more, but I can't build it by myself. The 125 gallon needs redone, but it first needs a filter, and we're gonna build a filter, but I can't build it by myself. That tank, I don't want to have goldfish in it any longer, but they'll be going into a pond that I can't build by myself. That is just a work in progress, and the one thing that I can do by myself is work on this tank, but I can't work on it until the iguana's tank done, like I said. So basically right now I'm just trying to keep everything together, and then I want to get everything done and then build up a routine, because right now basically things have been changing so much this whole entire past year that I haven't had a basic routine for like 2 months. Like I could probably check my notes. I don't think I have. So that's definitely not good. So part of this year, part of my plan is to get a lot less animals, like none probably, and just kind of start to really work on what I have. So hope you guys enjoyed, and subscribe if you want more content for all these lovely things that are going to be happening that I've been talking about, because they will happen. I mean, I came through on the entire reptile room redo, so I think that's really cool, and I hope you have a fantastic day, because that'd be really cool.